Paris Prime. One of my favorite bows, actually, and by far one of my first Prime weapons. It's a good starter Prime weapon if you're trying to get your first Prime. Fairly decent. Strong, but not too strong. So, this will be going over my build, my thoughts on it, and how I feel about it, and whether it feels like it's Steel Path worthy or whatnot. But yeah. Now, Paris Prime is an MR8 requirement. It has a crit chance of 45%, multiplier of 2, and a status of 20. You mostly want to be building this for puncture, but it also has a bit of slash too. I will explain that later in a minute here. So, one of the things I will say is the parts to get this from is from Void Relics. Now, I can't tell you which specifically it's from because the relics are mostly and always changing, but it's fairly common. It's in a lot of relics, so I can't tell you which specifically they are in because they're in like a lot of relics, and it's pretty much in Warframe 24/7. So don't worry about it being vaulted. Now, here's one of my two builds. This is pretty much the hybrid build. It goes off of crit and status. Now, I like viral because almost every enemy is weak to viral. But you're also going to be getting some fairly decent orange crits out of this, mostly because of the 3 vigilante mods. Now, this is the crit build here. Now, with Hunter Munitions, if you haven't obtained that or don't know what it is, basically on critical hit, it has a chance to apply Slash, and Slash basically ignores armor. It's basically a bleeding effect. But it's entirely up to you. You can put more puncture on there if you want more damage instead. Completely up to you. You can just switch that out for a Vigilante offense and then put more of a Piercing Caliber on there. But it's all completely optional. And again, these builds do not have to be pitch perfect of what I'm building here. You do not really have to completely copy of what I'm doing, because again, you can build this bow for however you want. That's why I like the Paris Prime. You can build this bow for however you want here. Now, here I am showcasing the hybrid build. Now, as you saw there, I got an orange crit, and now I'm going at it with this heavy gunner. Now, it's doing a lot of damage, but of course not one-shotting it or whatnot. Still, it's doing a lot of damage because, again, almost everything is weak to viral. Grineer especially if you're doing that puncture damage on the Grineer, since their armor is weak to puncture as well. So, yeah, this is what primarily the build is mostly for, is just killing Grineer or Corpus Crewman units. But, yeah, you can see here I'm getting orange crits or whatnot. Now, you can pretty much see that I just got a red crit there as well, so you can get red crits from this. You're mostly going to be getting orange crits, but hey, crit's a crit, in my opinion. Now, as you see here on Steel Path, I put these enemies on Steel Path. Now, of course, it still takes out your basic Lancer or whatnot fairly easily, but it's taking a tad bit more on a heavy gunner. Now, granted, I'm still doing much damage, but yeah, it's gonna be a while for you to take out a heavy gunner if you're just standing there shooting bows at it. Yeah. But yeah, it's gonna be taking a fair bit, but you're still doing at least some damage. Now, that's another reason why I have the Arcane on there, Primary Deadhead. For when I get a kill on headshot, I have more increased damage, stacks up to 3, and it will also give me more headshot multiplier here. But yeah, kills the Lancers or whatever lower ranked trash mob here fairly easily. Now, this is the crit build. Now, as you can see here, the crits are much more prominent with it being orange, red, and this is with the no hunter mod. Now, it's doing the major crit damage here. but still not a lot going on with the Lancers and most likely the heavy gunners. Not doing much damage, but it's killing them, just taking a few shots with the arrows here. Now this is with the Hunter mod. Now the slash procs are going to be more prominent here since my crit chance is very high and most of the time I'm going to be hitting crits here. Now you can see I took down the first few Lancers fairly quickly due to the Hunter mod here. Now, as you see here with the heavy gunners here, it's doing some fair bit of damage until the slash proc kicks in. You're still going to be firing at her, but the slash procs are kicking in. They're doing damage or whatnot, but still taking a bit of time, so yeah, and again, this is on the Steel Path enemies. This is on the Steel Path enemies right here. But I did take the Paris Prime for a whirl on one of my Kuvalich missions. I still haven't killed yet. But at this point, he's at, I think, a level 4 or 5. But the enemies are like at 85 through something. But yeah, this is the Paris Prime. Now, this is the status build I will be using for the Kuvalich missions here. So it's just a decent example here for what it can do. Now, my final thoughts on this. Is it worth taking Steel Path? Well, probably if you just want to take it for an exterminate or spy or rescue to like help be quiet. But for those long endurance runs, yeah, you'd probably want the Incarnon for this one for those endgame players there. But this video is kind of here to help with newer players in a way. But yeah, I'd say this weapon is pretty much for normal star chart. But for Steel Path, definitely worth recommending getting the Incarnon instead. But overall, fairly decent weapon. Build it. You can build it how you want. You can add the hunter munitions, give it a status build, or just an overall hybrid build. But yeah, that's what I think about the Paris Prime. Hopefully this video was insightful for what builds you're trying to make for the Paris Prime, or if you're playing to get the Paris Prime. But yeah, again, overall, not Steel Path worthy-ish, but a fairly decent weapon for Star Chart to carry you in. But yeah, hopefully this video helped you.